So I just learned that some platforms are offering a monthly salary if you are a profitable trader. I want to talk about the realities of a scaling plan with a prop firm, the good, the bad, the ugly, and is it even realistic once you dive into the fine print? So in the prop firm space, if you are not familiar, you get to the funded phase and you think, okay, well, they're giving me access to, their capital, and I could trade their capital, and if I'm trading their capital, that's awesome. But what happens when you're making money and you don't want to have to buy an additional account to scale up, but you want to be able to scale up? So let's say you bought a $25,000 account. You get it funded, you get profitable. Now you're like, okay, I'm making a couple $100s a month on average because you're playing conservatively, and you're like, oh, that's cool, but I wish I was a little bit more, right? Because now I'm at that next level. You do that for a few months, you're like, okay, I feel like I've gotten to the point where I can level this up. Your option is, if the prop firm has a static drawdown, then you could slowly, incrementally scale up your account to where you build a big enough cushion to when you can size a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bigger, which is certainly a way to go, but then you still have to deal with the daily drawdown limits, and you could be limited with that approach or with that, that method of scaling up. Or you could go ahead and buy a bigger account. So you have a $25,000 account, now you want to buy a $100,000 or a $200,000 account. And that makes a lot of sense. But now you have to trade two accounts. There are trade copiers you can utilize out there, so that does not make that very difficult. But maybe, it adds a layer, it adds a piece, and it adds a monthly subscription cost. And then you still have to go through, step 1 and step 2 to fund that next account that's bigger. So it's going to take you some time. So you're like, man, while I'm making some money here, I wish I could be making more. I wish I can scale this up faster. And, well, maybe this is the, society that we're in, lack of patience, etc. But there are ways to do it, and many prop firms will offer a scaling plan of some sorts. And so I want to talk about those in this video. I was made aware of one that is actually almost too good to be true. And that I think is going to kind of shock you if you're not familiar with how this stuff works, what they're literally giving away. And but there is some fine print to that, which we'll get into in a second. Okay, so here's one with this prop firm. It's a fairly new one. It's called one-on-one funding. This is how I think it should be because it's super simple. Like, there's not a lot of fine print. Maybe there is fine print somewhere in the back burner. I don't know. I haven't found it. This is what I'm aware of as of right now. The scaling plan becomes eligible 3 months after getting funded. So let's say I fund my $25,000 account and I'm profitable for 3 months. Cool. If you achieve a 10% gain during this period, at least 2 payouts, meaning you have to make 10%. So on the 25K account, I have to make $2,500 in that 3-month span, and I have to request at least 2 payouts along the way. I assume this is so that you're not building too much of a cushion, and that, you know what I mean? So you don't have this, you build a big cushion, then you can kind of just chill. So they want to see that you're still, actively using the account and that you're taking payouts and all that. Your account balance will then be increased by 25%. Further scaling occurs at 25% increments with a cap at $300,000. So it seems as if every 3 months, as long as you are making 10% on your account every 3 months, you'll get your balance increased by 25% again with the payouts. Now, I think that's fair because if you fund an account, you want to get paid out. You want the payouts. And so that's okay, great, I'm taking those in. But in doing so, you're also telling them, or you're also satisfying one of the requirements to then be eligible to get scaled up. I assume that 3 months after funding is not you can't, it's not oh, if you don't hit 10% in 3 months, then you got to wait 3 more months. I assume that once you hit 10% and you're 3+ months out past getting funded, so let's say you fund your account in January, or let's say on December 31st, you pass January 1st, you have a funded account. January, February, March, April 1st, they email you or you email them saying, hey, I satisfied these requirements. I've made, let's say, on the 25K account, I made $3,000. I've taken 2 payouts of $1,000 each. Can I have my account scaled up? If they check you out, you're good to go. Boom, 25% balance increase. Now, this is, of course, in a perfect world, right? I don't know if they're going to be sketchy with this. I don't know how easy or how likely they are going to be just to kind of say, oh, yeah, great, we'll fund you, but we'll give you more money. There are not a lot of people out there that will go through this plan. Because first off, you have to fund the account. Very tough to do. There's not a lot of people who do that in the first place compared to how many people actually buy challenges. Second, you have to be profitable for 3 months and take 2 payouts. That whittles it down even more. And then third, like, you have to actually reach out for this and be aware this exists, because I don't think they're just going to be giving this away without you saying anything. They might, but I kind of have my doubts there. If you're looking at like a Top Step account, here's Top Step scaling plan. So on a 50K account, if you make profits but you're under $1,500, you can scale to 2 lots, then you can trade with 3 lots, 5 lots, and etc. This is how a lot of the prop firms work when it comes, or similar prop firms to Top Step work. More like, I don't want to say old school, but like they're the older ones. They've been around for a bit longer. So it's more so like you can scale your lot size up, whereas like they're not letting you scale your account necessarily, although you would do so if you're profitable, you would do so over time. But you just can scale your lot size up, still having to abide by the daily drawdown and the drawdown requirements. But this is another way that you can also scale, and it just depends about how much money you're making and how consistent you are. Or really, it's more so how much money you're making. If you're making money, they say, oh yeah, go ahead, take more size, and we'll happily see you fail so that you could then buy another account from us. And these made some sense. The first one, pretty straightforward, pretty good. I think those are pretty good rules. But there is one new company, so who knows how long this will last, but this is pretty crazy. So Arctic Funding, a prop firm that pretty much came out primarily for stock traders, although they do have Forex and stuff. But check this out. They have a 4-step plan in their scaling progression. And I thought this was pretty crazy, but there is some fine print. After 4 months of profitable trading, they'll bump your account. So if you have an 80% profit split, they'll bump you to 85. They'll increase your balance by 40% from your initial balance point. You get your max drawdown upped by 2%. That could be pretty big. Gives you a lot more cushion. Your max daily increased by 1. The daily's not that big of a deal, I don't think, in most people's case, unless you are like a chronic overtrader, which you probably would lose accounts very, very fast if that's the case. But still, that could be pretty cool, could be helpful if you do trade a lot and it's not over trading. Maybe that's your strategy. I mean, I don't think it's... I've heard too many people say that less is more for me to believe that is going to be really a big deal. So I don't think this is that big of a deal, but it's there for you. You can withdraw every 7 days, and they give you a free account if you fail. So if you lose your funded account, they will literally give you a free challenge account. Crazy. And then on top of that, they're going to pay you a salary. Up to $600. Up to. Now, there is fine print for that as well, which I don't want to go through the weeds and all this stuff, but let's explain, or let's dive deeper into this. Is this realistic? So here's stage 1. Let me just go to stage 4 so you can kind of see how this progresses. You kind of move your way up from 80% profit splits all the way to 100% profit splits. And after 16 months of profitable trading, your max drawdown is now increased by 10%. Your initial balance is up by 160%. Your daily is up by 2. You still get a free challenge. You can withdraw every 7 days. And now you're going to get paid up to $1,450 salary. Monthly salary. I assume that's what that's saying. Even if it wasn't monthly, still pretty cool, right? You're getting paid over what is that? Over $100 a month, just because you're a profitable trader. Pretty cool, right? So let's dive deeper. So they scale you up every 4 months, and over that span, you have to achieve a net 15% profit. And it's not just that, which is a little bit tougher to do than the 3-month 10%, I think, if you do the math out, like how much percent per month. But still within reason. Cool. You have to earn a minimum of 2% profit on the initial balance each month for 4 months. So you can't have a really good month, like a red month, and then a good month and a flat month. It has to be at least 2% per month. So is that easy to do? Some people will say, if you're good, yes. And I agree to a degree. But at the same time, you're going to go through phases where you're just not hitting it. Maybe you don't see a lot of setups. Maybe it's like this past month, as I'm filming this right now. This past month has been super choppy. We had the election, all that stuff. So like before all that, it was like the market just wasn't picking a side. It wasn't picking a direction. It seemed as if. And so maybe you don't do well in those environments, or maybe you don't do well during earnings season, or maybe you don't do well in, August for whatever reason, which is like my stats. So maybe that's not as easy to do as it sounds, right, on paper here. 2%, because like you can have a month where it's like, maybe I'm down 2%, and then next month you're up 10. That's possible. That's how it goes, to be honest with you. You also have to request at least 3 withdrawals over that 4-month span. So you have to, again, keep making sure you're withdrawing some funds so you're not just building this massive cushion on your account. Then you email them and they can assess your scale up requirements. Okay. At the same time, so we just talked about you have to make at least 2% per month, but you cannot make, or you can make more than 5% per month, but only 5 will be counted. So if you have a 7% month, they're only going to count that as a 5% month, which is, kind of BS, but whatever. If you pass this, you get a 40% increase on your account. Pretty cool. And by the way, that monthly bonus, or that monthly, salary, is applied by these requirements or rules. It's it's a little bit more of a situation to dive into. Either way, it's cool that it's offered. Do I think you're going to be able, it's easy to get the full thing? No, there's obviously fine print to this, but it's kind of crazy. I'm sitting here like, wow, this is actually really interesting. Now, the reality is, will you be able to do this? It's like I said with the other one, you have to pass the funded account. So get a funded account, either pass, an express, or pass a, 2-phase, it's 2-step. I always go with the 2-step because I think that's the most realistic way to go about it. It's also, I don't know. I think for the stock accounts, I think you have to go 2-step. Either way, you pass the account A. Most do not. Okay, because the profit, they stay in business because most people are failing the accounts and they're using the money that people are buying accounts with to pay the people who are profitable. That's how these work. So passing it, low probability, but can be done. Then you have to be profitable for that 4-month span. On top of that, meet all the little criteria. So 2% per month, not over 5, you can't make over 5. So it has to all work out that way and then take payouts. Now, I think you can get there. I would just be interested to see if over maybe a 6 to 12 month span, you hit these numbers, would they still bump you up? I would suspect they do, but the reality is I don't think that you're going to be scaling this up super, super fast. I think you'll be scaling this up a lot slower and inching your way up if you are profitable and you are playing conservative. But once you start to do so, because your drawdown increases, because your daily drawdown increases, it starts to get a little bit easier. So it's actually pretty nice, and then you get a little bit of a salary. It actually ends up becoming pretty nice, and I don't want to say a more stable income, but a stable, potentially side income with the little salary, which is kind of a nice little boost in your back pocket that could pay for some insurance costs or whatever. It depends upon how profitable you are, what your salary is, your monthly bonus. But I think it's kind of cool. So there is a reality check that has to be made with some of these things. So don't think when you get an advertisement or when they advertise to you saying look at our incredible scaling plan, the reality is it's not that easy to just go right through it, boom, 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 boom. Now you're trading with the max amount of funds and you're making $1,500 a month in salary. You're making thousands of dollars a month in payouts. It's not that easy, realistically. But if you're conservative, you play the game, you kind of stair step, you chip and chop away, you get funded, you get into step 1, step 2 of the scaling plan, the game does get a little bit easier, and getting that little bonus, it takes some of the pressure off you thinking you have to make money if that's a mindset you're struggling with. Because you kind of have a few bucks coming in. How do they do this? I don't know. I don't own the company. I have no idea. But I do know that they can sell your order data so they can make money off that. They can also copy your trades. Just as you can create a trade copier and copy your own trades on different accounts, they could copy your trades. So it would make sense to me if I had a couple of traders who were around or were making money and I knew they were profitable, it would kind of make sense for me to say, hey guys, I want you to stay with my prop firm. So I'll offer you a salary. I'll increase your drawdown. I'll make it easier for you. I want to make it a little bit easier for you because your data is making me money, and I could, attach a copier to your trades and trade on a 10x that account size and make a lot of money if you are consistently profitable. And they have all that data on you. So they know. They know if you get funded in 3 trades, they know. If you get funded in, it took you a year, but you're kind of super slow and steady over the course of a year and you're just kind of a solid trader. And they're say, hey, we could copy this guy's trades and we can make 25% per year. Nice and steady on an account. That's pretty good. We want this guy to stay with us because if this guy's actually good, he's going to leave at some point and go trade his own money. We want to make sure he stays. So that's kind of how I view it. And just because you want to think, I don't know, like you want to think about what their incentive is, your incentive. And when you can kind of meet in the middle, it does make it a little more interesting. And as long as you understand that, you know, like what makes more sense. Why is this more challenging? Why are they doing this? Why are they giving this money away? Well, it's because they can make more. They're probably making more money off of you anyway if they're working smart or if they're doing things the right way, is kind of how I view it. I will leave a link below to Arctic Funding. I've been using them. I have a funded account with them. For stocks, pretty good, man. I mean, spreads are a bit of a pain, but other than that, like they've been pretty good. They are new, so who knows how that goes, and I really have no other association with them other than I've just been using them. So they have usually promos. I would imagine around Black Friday they're going to have big promos. So if you get on their email list, you know, give it a couple of days. They'll send you discount codes. And never pay full price for these challenge accounts. You do not have to. Never. There is always a discount code somewhere of at least 5 to 10, 25% sometimes. So hope that was helpful. More of an inside kind of scoop into the prop firm space. I don't know. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.